Hi everyone, it's Diane from Boho Stamper. Thanks for joining me for some paper crafting fun on a Friday. I hope you're all doing well, getting ready for a weekend. I am playing today. I think I'm having some watercolor withdrawals. I finished my watercolor online class last week and I had so much fun with it, and I didn't get to play around too much with any painting this week. So I decided I wanted to watercolor my card for today. This stamp set is from Blue Night Rubber Stamps, and this is one of the sets that I got at the SSA tour when I was there about a month ago. And I do like to look sometimes for Christian and inspirational messages that I use with some of my cards, and I did really like this. This image is very similar to our Stampin' Up! Image from Nature's Harvest, and there's a coneflower on that. So if you have the Nature's Harvest stamp set, you can pretty much do the same layout. But if you don't, just use what you have. Go find a pretty flower. I'm going to watercolor with just my my pan of different colors that I have. If you do not have watercolors, you can still do this technique. And we've actually done this before, just by taking our stamp pad, stamping a little bit of ink onto our acrylic block. I'm sure you've all seen us do this, unless you're kind of new to my channel, in which case, welcome. I hope you get to have some fun, learn something, get inspired, whatever. Add a little water to that ink on your acrylic block, and then just add it to your paper. And it's just like having watercolors. They're perfect. As far as paper, I would hesitate to use just plain copy paper or designer paper because we're getting it wet. And this one is, this first one that I did is a little bit dry, but it does wrinkle your paper a little bit. So I would maybe want to shy away from just a very thin, lightweight paper. You can use cardstock, and this is crumb cake cardstock by Stampin' Up, and it holds up to watercolor very well if you're not saturating the paper. You know, I didn't spritz my paper first to do a wet on wet technique. I just used my watercolors very lightly on here, and I didn't have any problem. I think you probably could use some of the specialty designer series papers, and maybe, you know, the ones with the foil in them. I think that would hold up. Of course, excuse me, it depends on what your pattern is too. You don't really want to put a busy stamped image on a busy background pattern. And you can also use watercolor paper. So that's what we're doing today. I have some watercolor paper that I was practicing my ink blending on today. And I thought that maybe I would do a purple coneflower rather than the blue one, because I did used to grow purple coneflowers in the garden. I'm just looking because I don't have a whole lot of purpley watercolor. I may have to use my purple ink. And do I want to put that on more of a yellow or a purpley background? I am not sure. I think I might. Let's do a yellow background. Ooh, fresh freeze is probably going to work out great with that, I think. Yeah. Let's do that. So we're going to use the technique that we just talked about. Apologize for the voice. I am still trying to get over the cough. I thought it was pretty well gone, but kind of fooled me. All right, I have my stamp already set up in my Stamparatus. I have to kind of watch. One of these Versamark ink pads has more ink in it, and because our watercolor paper has a little bit of texture or tooth to the paper, it is it sometimes takes a couple of stamps to get the Versamark ink to stick to the watercolor paper. I'm wondering if I should add a little bit of ink, because I did do this once on the watercolor paper and didn't get a complete image, and I don't want that to happen again. Let me just add some of my re-inker to that pad. And I think I have a popsicle stick. It'll come in handy for getting that ink to get down into the sponge. All right, let's give her a go. So Versamark ink is just a clear sticky ink, in case you are not familiar with that. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't use my embossing buddy on there. This is just an anti-static powder that helps to keep our embossing powder from sticking to parts of the card that we don't want it to stick to. And I'm going to mention too, I did move my cardstock up a little bit this time. I was not happy with the big space that I left down here. So I'm not sure how my greeting is going to line up now, but I wanted my flower to be a little closer to the bottom of the card. And so we're going to give this a nice press in the Stamparatus. I'm going to do it 2 times because this is watercolor paper, and like I said, it is a little bit harder to get my ink to stick down in there. Let's do this again, and then we'll take a peek and see if I can spot any. I wonder if I could use my flashlight on my phone and see if I missed any spots. I did look closely the last time, and I missed this whole section right in here. So, let's see. What do we have now? I almost think I'm missing that same section. That looks pretty good, I think. It is hard to see. It's clear. Hard to see clear. All right, I think we got it this time. Lovely. And depending on how this goes, maybe I'll try this one on the pinky purple too. We'll see. Yes, I was playing around with some different distress and distress oxide inks today, playing with them and trying to learn the difference in the blending of them, if they would work together well. And they did. They worked really well together. The oxide does blend a lot creamier. It's really nice. Both of them reacted with water splatter nice. Good, 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 good. That came out good. This is a, what's it called? Detailed gold embossing powder. So this is a finer embossing powder because there's a lot of little lines. I wanted to have something that would get into that. And some of the embossing powders are a little bit thicker. And I also couldn't find my, I think I have Stampin' Up! Gold, but I didn't see it over there. I'm not quite sure where that went. I had this one, so we'll give it a go. Okay, So now I forgot I took my mouse off of here when I got this light. I'm going to mute this so that I can heat this up. And you will see as this embossing powder gets hot, it's going to turn shiny and gold. So just pray I remember to unmute. All right, back. See how pretty and shiny it got? And I don't see any dull spots. If there were little powdery dull spots on there, that would mean that we had missed some spots. I think we're good. Alright, so because I'm going to use ink, I do need my block back. I have a paper towel, a little jar of water. I think I used this brush on that shimmer mist that we had. I was trying to do something one day, and I think I used that in there. I'm not sure I cleaned it off well. I don't know why I put my watercolors away. Still use it for my yellow and my leaves, can't I? Sure thing. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to the pigment and start coloring in my flower centers. And I did pick a deeper yellow to use so that on this background it'll stand out a little bit. The nice thing about having the gold embossing on there is that it kind of holds your watercolor in where you want it to be. Just like in real watercoloring, we don't want to start the color next to the color that is currently wet because they could bleed into each other. So I'm going to move down and start on my my stems and leaves. And I'm hoping I can hold my hand in a way that you can see what I'm doing. Went outside of my embossing powder there. Anyway, oh, look at me smearing it all over. What a ding-dong. It's okay, because I think took off some of my yellow distress ink back there, but I did get the green off. I have to get my yellow blending brush out, and when I'm all done, put a little bit back on there. And I think on this one, this is part of the I have my paper pushed back a little bit further from me, and it's kind of hard to see. So when you paint over the embossing resists the paint and allows your paper just to absorb that color. So I said this makes it really nice It's like having a nice outline for your painting. If you have a little too much water on there, you can just dab off your paintbrush and pick some of it back up and continue on. I'm using a very fine brush because I knew these were small areas that I wanted to paint in. And so this is just a number 3 round brush. Not that I am by far any expert on painting, but for anybody who would like to know what that is, it's just a 3 round brush. Then if you are painting an area and decide you want it to be a little bit darker, you can go back and add more into this, because watercolor does tend to dry a little bit lighter than when it is first added to the paper. And if your watercolor is still wet on the paper, when you add more of that pigment, it kind of spreads out by itself and blends in nice. I do like playing with watercolor. I remember in school, we would have art class, and we were going to watercolor. I always hated it. I don't know why. Don't know why. Because I do think it's so pretty. I always wanted to draw. Not that I'm very good at that either, but for some reason that's just what I wanted to do. I didn't want to learn watercolor. Now I love it. Wish I'd paid more attention. And that's it for the leaves. They're done. So very quick. Let's see how this violet is going to look. I might just have to use my pink though. Oh, this is... I don't think my purple coneflowers were that violety purple. I think they were more the freesia color. So I think that's where I'm going to go with that. I'm going to use my ink color that I put on my block. As soon as I can get that off of here. Let's try this. Oh yeah, I think this is better already. I like that color. Now it's more realistic, I guess. Can't tell if it's starting to rain out again or not. We're supposed to get more rain. We need it. Oh my goodness. It's been so dry. I was This will make it a little easier to decide what color my card base is going to be. It's going to be fresh greenish, I think. Oh, I say that like I really know, but it might look horrible with the yellow. Hope I'm not getting my head in the way. Still see that bluish coming through back there. So, are you a watercolor person, or do you strictly like to make your cards with ink? Wasn't it just not too long ago, I think we did sort of a watercolor wash in the background and stamped over it. Those are always pretty too, especially if you have some nice silhouette stamps. That didn't take too long. Oh, I like it. I like the purple and the yellow. Nice. That makes me happy. All right, let me... Oh my goodness, if I can reach my brushes down here. Try my yellow one. See what kind of ink is still on that. I need that one little spot right there, and I messed up. There we go. It was just a little too white underneath there. Nice. Okay, let me grab my stamp apparatus back out. Let's check and see where we have this greeting lined up at. And make sure now that I have moved my flower. Let's make sure this is still gonna fit on here without crushing it. I might crush right over the petals or the leaves. I think it's gonna be alright. I think it's just gonna make it. How lucky can I be? Okay, black ink. Black ink. This is VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. Just a nice deep black ink. Again, because I have it in my stamp apparatus, I can stamp this a second time to get a nice dark greeting on there. I like it. Yay! The VersaFine Clair does take a minute to dry, so I'm going to make sure I set that aside and not put my hand in it so I can clean off my stamp. Like a good girl. Just use my chamois and wipe my stamps off so they are ready for the next time. Cover my ink up. That's a good rule too. Always cover your ink. Take my stamps off so I can put my stamparatus away. I don't want to hit the camera. I did clean up here a little bit, so I'm trying to put things back where they go. Not leave them sit out. Tomorrow's going to be a little hectic. This weekend is our borough's community yard sale, and so because we're trying to clean stuff out, pitch and ditch, I thought maybe we'll give it a go Saturday. So tomorrow is my setup day, so I will be busy with that. And then we'll have doggy sitting on tomorrow, or Saturday night, I guess. Yeah, running on Saturday night. Alright, so do I want to put this on? Oh, look, see that Auntie Glennon kind of made a little bit of a smoky slate color in the background. That might be pretty. It might be prettier than what it actually is. This is fresh freesia. I think I like it on the smoky slate. And then we're going to add some yellow rhinestones. And they're left over from my holiday rhinestones. So because, again, I've used watercolor paper, and it does have a little bit of texture to it, I'm going to use liquid glue to glue that down to my card front. Make sure that it sticks nice. Hoping that's dry and I don't stick my hand in anything I shouldn't. What else do we have going on? We have, our Lady Scouts organization is having a food fight, a friendly food fight for our local businesses to participate in to help raise awareness and collect much needed food for our community food warehouse. So, on here for a minute. So that begins, I should say, on the 8th, so next week. So right now, everybody's busy getting bins out to the businesses who are going to participate. So there's another busy to do. Cute. All right, let's put some yellow stones on here. Is that a little one? Is that a big one? I wanted the small ones. I can't really tell. Well, I guess that was a large one. Yeah, I'd rather have the little ones on this. What do you think? That embossing makes it so easy to watercolor, and remember, you can use any of your inks just by squishing them on a block and adding a little water. Oh, and there goes that cardboard. Just got water all over it. So that vast array of ink pads you have has now become a watercolor palette. Are you lucky? And my brush. And cover my water up so I don't spill it. And there we go. I thank you for being with me and just watching me color my flowers. I hope it wasn't as bad as watching paint dry. Hopefully you learned something and you are inspired to go send a card to somebody and make them smile. They will like it, really. Have fun, enjoy your weekend, and stop back Monday. See you then. Bye.